This is part of my life at 54 years old. I wish I could do more for the country. But what I am seeing right now is quite regression from my past. I actually spoken to a lady today, right? She's a new citizen, and she said, "Oh, we are progressing, Singapore." Right? But I told her, compared to what I have enjoyed from young to my graduation from the NUS, the situation right now is actually a regression, not a progression. Right? Due to PAP's policies, a lot of policies have went wrong, and I explained to her about that. But if you want to know more about this, join me in my dinner, People's Power Party dinner. I will give a speech on why, how, and when we should act. We should act upon it, right? A friend actually told me a story today, right? Because some was discussing, very difficult to sell the tickets. People are afraid to buy our ticket. So in that sense, they complain a lot about PAP policies here and there, but when it comes to the crunch, they are hesitant to do that. Right? Then my friend said, it's just like a little village with 30 people, and there was a tiger roaming around and killing babies and kids, right? And everyone is afraid, right? And no one wants to do anything about it, right? So 2 weeks later, right, 10 people died because the tiger attacked them. And they were more afraid. And they start to hide themselves inside their homes. And after 1 month, right, nobody left in the village. If they have done something right from the start, right, to unite and fought back and address the problems of this tiger roaming around to eat up everyone, they might have killed the tiger before the tiger have killed all of them eventually. That is actually quite an inspiring story that I've heard today. Okay. Anyway, talking about being cute and all that, let's see what happened in the early morning when I first wake up.
And if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
That is Donald Trump. Donald Trump, and it is. Okay. It's plainly an assassination attempt on his life. And luckily, he didn't die, right, due to this shooting. And from all the information that comes in, okay, it was says that this young guy who carried a rifle went up to the building's top, right? Someone saw him and they were shouting for the police to arrest him, but they did nothing, right? The snipers, the Secret Service snipers, saw him but didn't shoot before he started shooting at Donald Trump. I do not know what is happening, but luckily Donald Trump didn't die due to the shooting, or else America might have a civil war. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. I'm really not kidding about that, right? Civil war might have happened, right, if Donald Trump got killed, right? Because this is a tense election, very tense. In France, the ruling party have lost power, absolute power. In UK, right, the Conservative had lost power to the Labour, all because of immigration policy. And Donald Trump is going to win this election basically because of immigration policy again. Because the Democrats have very aggressive immigration policies. They basically allow anyone to just cross over from Mexico to America, just like that. And they, after some time, will give them voting rights. They will give them the green card, the citizenship, and so on and so forth. Because the Democrats are considered as leftists, so-called, but more than leftists. There's a difference between a leftist and a woke. They call it woke, W-O-K-E, right? Basically, they just support immigration, right? And they just support LGBT, the woke, right? They just support aggressive policies that is based on climate change, right? Yeah, we know climate change, maybe, yes, there might be a certain truth in that climate change, but there must be a balance in managing climate change. Okay, I'll talk about this just a bit later, right? But you see, the contest between Donald Trump and Biden is so intense. Biden just call him names, call him rapist, call him fraud, right? And label him or smearing him. All the media that has been controlled by the leftists are smearing Donald Trump. And such, you see, such public figures that say all this might have radicalized some of their followers. Of course, this young man was said to be Republican voters and all that, but he in fact have actually contributed to the leftist movement, right? And at the very, very early instant, the police of the Buckley County actually says that it's an artifact, right? So there's confusion. Everyone is trying to point fingers at anyone except themselves. Okay, so whichever camp they comes by, most probably he has been radicalized by the campaigning or some ideologies, right? Whether it's leftist or rightist, right? I don't think he's a rightist because Donald Trump stands on the right, right? The Democrats stands on the left, right? So he says that the Bidens give a very good, solid speech, so-called, right, labeling Donald Trump and all that, just a few days ago, and this happens. And someone asked me, right, what do I think about this incident? I basically told him, I actually are very fearful. Why? I'm very fearful. Seriously. Why? Because I'm being smeared, I'm being labeled a lot of things. I'm being the so-called anti-vaxxers. I'm called the anti-vaxxers who belongs to the dangerous tribe, right? And there are people who say that, oh, anti-vaxxers like Goh Meng Seng and others, right, should be caned and put in jail. Right? They might think that this simple words doesn't hurt or doesn't do anything just for the sound bite, you know that. But I tell you, these people who say all this are not nobody, right? Are not nobody. They are politician or ex-NCMP or MP, you know. They're not nobody, right? And they have their followings. They have their followers. And you know what? If their followers are being radicalized, they might just come out to me and stab me on the back or stab me right in front, right? So I told my supporters, actually, you are afraid. You know, there are many people are afraid to to buy tickets, contribute to my parties and all that, or even join as volunteers to help the party or any political party other than PAP. But look, politicians like us at the front should be the one who are the most frightened any one time. Beside from the persecution or the tailing or the stalkers or the IBs from the ruling parties, our opponent, right? Or the POFMA office that comes, right? Pouncing on us on every words that we say, right? And using every means, every legal means that they can gather. We have to deal with all these people, unknown, who might have been radicalized in one way or another, and sometimes by the speeches made by the politicians on the other side. But look, if people like us overcome our fear by our love for the country, why should you be afraid? To be frightened, to have fear is natural for human beings because everyone loves lives. We want to live longer, right? But sometimes, just like what I said just now, if the tiger is roaming around your village and you are overwhelmed by your fear, eventually you will be killed by the tiger one by one. Only when you unite and come out to say we have to do something about this, let's kill the tiger instead. Address the problems right at the beginning or at the root. Then everyone will live a more peaceful life and a better life. Okay? Now talking about this woke thing, let's take a look at this. We have become the first country in Southeast Asia. I don't know whether officially says that these insects, right, can be sold as food, right? Not street food somehow. When you go to some of the ulu places, in some third world country, right, or even some third tier places in China, they do eat insects, right? Locusts especially, and all that, huh? But that's not considered as delicacy. But we are trying to portray it as some good delicacy and all that. All for what? To save the world from climate change? Are you ready to eat worms, crickets, locusts? Right? Well, I can tell you cockroach, right, have medical values in the Chinese traditional medicine, but we don't eat as a normal staple food, right? We don't eat as some snacks like that. No. Cockroaches that is used as a medicine in Chinese medicine, they are actually grown, and they are carefully treated before it's being used as a traditional medicine for asthma. And those who knows about this, special use of cockroaches, right? But we don't use it as some delicacy. Right? We only take them when necessary. Right? Well, in some places when you have famine due to locusts, then you eat the locusts because they destroy your crops. Legitimate. Right? But you don't eat locusts every day as a delicacy. But look, these people actually do farming of all these insects and worms to put into our supply, our food supply. Why? Because the work due to climate change or to grow these insects have less carbon print than a cow, for example. Right? That's their logic. Right? However, they are not saying that we will not eat cow, eat beef, and so on and so forth. And look at this, what Calvin Cheng again, said. Right? He put this up. Okay, he says that he's not, he's a vegetarian, so he doesn't care anyway. He claimed that he's a vegetarian. Well, fine. But he says during a crisis, Singapore could have a shortage of food. Oh, that's a good crisis. But why would you introduce this as the norm, as some delicacy, right? This already happened during the pandemic when Malaysia stopped exporting poultry and Thailand rice. Okay, did we eat insects back then? We didn't. Right? Singapore needs to be food self-sufficient. Okay, so we are going to have factories that actually grow all these insects for our food supply. Right? With vertical farming, we can be vegetable self-sufficient. No, that's not true at all. All the vertical farming of vegetables, right, are not viable commercially. And many of them are losing money, and some of them have actually closed down. Even the vertical farming of fish have closed down. Right? Then he says, but meat is hard as we don't have land to rear animals. So insects are a good source of protein. You believe it? And can easily be farmed in Singapore. That's what he says. During a food crisis, the wealthy would still eat meat. You see? Those who got money will still eat meat. But the masses and heartlanders will be dying on mealworms and kopitiams and hawker centers. This is good news. Is it really a good news to you? Then, of course, he put a disclaimer. I'm a mostly vegetarian, so I don't care. No. He's not only a vegetarian, he's a rich fellow. So he says saying that, oh, count your blessing, you have insects to eat at your hawker centers and kopitiams, while the rich can continue with their medium rare salon. It's quite absurd. Because they are playing for the food shortage. So they say, their logic, they're saying that we should now allow insects to be sold so that people will take it as a norm for eating insects and worms, mealworms. Why? Because in order for the factories or the farming of these insects and worms be viable, we have to start early. That is what the concept is. So we should invest in factories that actually produce all these, right? By providing the demand for it. Demand and supply, no demand, how to have supply? Correct? That's the logic. So we should start eating insects right now when there's no famine. Are you game to do that? No. I am not very sure whether this information is right or not. People will start to think, oh, is it Temasek or GIC again? Did we invest in some insect farms? I don't know. Right? Some people have shown some evidence, but I'm doubtful about that. Right? But if it's so, then God helps us. Oh, Lord Buddha help us on that. Right? You see the pattern here? We want investment to come in for the vaccine factory, 5 or 6 vaccine factories. So was die must push for vaccine, become the pusher, vaccine pusher. While label us we are the wise vaxxer. We are actually more concerned about safety of vaccine. We are not anti-vax. Then label us as an anti-vaxxer. Who are the dangerous tribe. Danger to who? Danger to the pharmaceutical companies and those stakeholders who are investing heavily in all these vaccine factories in Singapore. Yeah, we are the dangerous tribe to them. Definitely. Right? Definitely. Okay? And now we become the first to eat insects, to allow insects to be as a normal food supply. Well, maybe it's true. Our GLCs or whatever might have invested in some insect farms somewhere, or even Singapore, who knows, right? And now they push for insects. We are not second-class citizens, right? Calvin Cheng is talking as if we are the second-class citizens who are bolui one, right? Who should eat insects. The first-class citizen with money will eat meat. Are they taking us for granted or what? My point is very simple. Make sure all the restaurants, cafes, kopitiams, and hawker place, when they are selling non-natural food, especially insects and proteins, right? Mock meat from some other, right? Or we also the first one who push for what? Impossible, those lab meat, right? Nobody have data, safety data on lab meat, long-term safety data again, right? Just because someone have our GLCs has invested in some lab meat factories, we are the first to push for lab meat. Right? Lab meat means what? You do not have real lives. You just use the meat, okay, chicken, right? The chicken cell, and put in the lab and grow the meat. So you will not see the chicken running around. You only see incubators, right, for the meat to grow. And they serve you that meat. Right? That's lab meat. And nobody knows the implication, long-term implication. Well, you know, it takes quite some time for people to establish smoking cause cancer with long-term data. And those cigarette makers actually suppress these findings for a long time unless it cannot be covered up. And we finally know in science that smoking causes cancer, lung cancer. Right? So when we do not have an open mind, not the open mind whether to eat lab meat or insects, right? But open mind to the implication of all this diet, right? Long-term data. I always stress as a statistician, as one who studies statistics, the basis of science depends on long-term data. Long-term data, right? Of safety before we can establish. Do eating insects actually cause lower mortality rate or lower life expectation in those countries where have been eating insects? Anyone do study on that? There are African countries who are eating insects, definitely. Some parts of other countries are eating insects. Like ants are, right? All sort of insects. You know, I even saw some documentary where people use certain insects to make like burgers, right? To smash it up and make burgers. The patty for the burgers. But will that have long-term impact on the health aspect? I don't know. But we are definitely pushing for it. So for our choice, for a clear, informed choices of our food intake, if my party, if I'm elected into parliament, the first thing I will ask to implement is, yes, okay, you want to promote insects. Okay, you want to give choices to people who likes to eat insects. At least there must be a regulation that says whichever food outlet, whether it's a restaurant, high-class restaurant, low-class restaurant, cafes, or even hawker centers, if you are selling insects as a protein substitute, you have to state that clearly in your menu, in a signboard, so that those people who do not want to eat insects will know that which outlet to avoid. It's very simple, what? Agree? Are they doing such a regulation? I don't know. I would have required that to be stipulated as a regulation. You want to eat insects, other people want to eat insects. I am not stopping anyone, just like vaccination. I don't stop anyone from taking vaccines, right? But at the very least, don't force me to eat it. Don't force me to take it, right? And don't make it so that it's I would eat it accidentally, unknowingly. Right? That is my basic requirement. Okay, the hottest topic in town. I do not know why. This is a photograph that started it all. Actually, when it was first mentioned, in Reddit or in the mainstream, I didn't really pay much attention to it. Okay, right? Not at all. No. It's really a bad design, right? And I'll explain why it's a bad design later, right? It's very simple. If a mistake is made, just admit it, right? And promise not to make it again or even ratify it. But you want to ratify it, don't use more money, more long-term expenses, right? Now this government is spending money like nobody business, right? So there are a lot of friends who knows about construction, who knows about structural engineering and whatever. So we have quite a bit of debate, right? But let's look. Are there alternatives? There are, right? These are the alternatives, correct? These are the alternatives. It has been built, and it's not an old design, you know. Just now, that one is a Marine Parade bus stop design, right? Why? Look like prison like that, right? Some people say. This one is actually in Marymount, along the same line, right? No, I think no, not Mayflower, not Marymount. Sorry, beg for your pardon. This is a Mayflower. It's along the same Thomson-East Coast Line. Right? Along the Thomson-East Coast Line are many pattern one. Okay, design of this bus stop attached to this MRT station get a lot of patterns. This is neat, clean. You can solve the problem. Why is this not being used? Right? So I will tell you what's the problem with the current issue of the Marine Parade. You see, first of all, it built 2 bus stops in one station, or rather bus stop bay. It claims that, oh, there are too many bars, so you have to split into 2, blah, 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 and all that. I do not think that is necessary. And in fact, the center portion, right, with some trees down there, when the trees grow up, it will block even more views for the first bus stop in front. Correct. Between the 2 bus stops, there is actually a walkway. Right? A walkway down there. Now, in this walkway, he used the same design, very bad design, with all the pillars or all the beams, right, going on down there, right? One whole row, like this. Yeah, no. I show this. Yep, this one. Oh, Even when you're walking along the walkway towards the second bus stop, you can't even see the bus numbers. Even the bus is stopping right in front of you. Right? It's an extremely bad design. Okay, and LTA to explain to the minister Chi Hong Tat that we cannot build the bins behind the bins to the back of the bus stop because there's a drain and all that. But I saw the drain cover is actually at the center, along the cover walkway. Right? And you look at the top right picture, there's one whole patch of pavement. I do not know what is that pavement, but it doesn't look like the drain to me, because drain, if it is drain, there must be those drain covers, right? So I really do not know what he's trying to say, right? And you know what? The best thing is, this is the bus stop at the back, right? Even the bus stop nearest to the exit of the MRT station, you look at the bottom right of this, right? They have made a extended shelter, but they abandoned it. They leave it there, and they build the covered walkway right underneath. It is a wasteful design. Basically, it tells me something. People claims that I didn't go down for recce and talk nonsense. And I actually went there. I spent half an hour, I think more than half an hour, 45 minutes out there, taking photos, analyzing what's wrong with the design or that. I can tell you, it's a very wasteful and due to bad planning. They didn't even know what they want in the first place. If they have known what they want in the first place, they could have built something like this. The bus stop covered, right, is done by the extension of the roof of the station exit. They can really do that right from the start. Because if you look at this, you compare this and this, right? The first bus stop is actually next to the MRT station exit, right? This is from Siglap, right? From Siglap MRT. You see, also along the same MRT line. Also along the same MRT line, right? So you tell me, if they can plan properly for Siglap MRT exit, station exit, to incorporate a bus stop like this, they don't do a wasteful with an additional ugly, right, bus stop that obstruct views, why can't they do the same for the Marine Parade one? Or they just use what have been done on the Mayflower station. I am not convinced at all. I'm really not convinced at all that they have made all due consideration. This is basically the state of affairs in our 4G leaders, so-called from PAP. Did Chi Hong Tat actually go down to that Marine Parade station to do his own recce? When the LTA officer or in charge tell him, oh, there's a drain at the back, did he go down and see, well, just show me where are the drains? Did he do that? Right? Did he inspect the duplication, the wasteful duplication of the bus stop shelters when it could have been designed in a different way to have extension from the building? And most importantly, who should be in charge? Or who should take responsible for that? I became concerned about this this issue only after Chi Hong Tak actually tried to justify for this mistake. Oh, because of this and that, no, or like bo pian like that must do this. No, there are a lot of ways to solve the problem. You are giving excuses for the bad planning, for the bad design, and for the incompetency of the LTA in managing such simple projects. Incompetency and inconsistency, so to speak. And basically, never use their brain. When you are designing something for public transport, it is for the public. You must design something from the perspective of the public users, not from your convenience. And you're telling me these MRT lines, these Thomson-East Coast Lines cost $28 billion, which on average, right, each MRT station costs $800 million, more than $800 million, which is in fact about 50%, 40 to 50% more than other MRT stations built in the past. Is that value for money with such incompetency? Of course, initially I thought the crazy bus stop is not a standard design, but I was proven wrong. Right? In Springleaf, they use the same design. Nobody complained. I do not know why. Right? Singaporeans are too kind to incompetency, to incompetent management. I think Singaporeans are too kind. Right? Never complain. I thought Singaporeans like to complain, but such thing, they don't complain. Maybe it's not painful enough for them. Because maybe all the bus stop in the Springleaf is a short one. Okay? It doesn't have a long walkway, right, that continues to block their view. So they didn't complain. And Springleaf is not the only one that used such design, right, which minus the walkway, the covered walkway. Right? But nobody really complains. You see, this may not be so-called an obvious election issue. But look, where are the MPs of Marine Parade GRC? Aren't they supposed to be the one who should show concern for the welfare of residents? See no nothing, hear no nothing, say no nothing. Then I asked the voters of Marine Parade, why are you voting these buggers who didn't represent your interests, who show no interest in your well-being? Why should you vote for them? Right? Maybe I should contest in Marine Parade. Right? Not that I want to, but I just can't bear to see such incompetency went unchallenged. You know, like the new citizens that I've spoken to this afternoon, who just say, "Oh, Singapore is getting better. You know, it's well managed." But look, don't take that for granted, and don't take us for granted. By such standard, I think the level of competence have actually dropped drastically. People are doing things without thinking, without even using their brain, so to speak. Right? If Singaporeans do not vote for people who really cares for this place, how this is run, how money is being used, in such expensive stuff, they have no way to have a good ROI, return of investment, so to speak. The return of investment can be intrinsic or extrinsic, right? In material terms or non-material terms. But I've done the calculation, right? Even every day they earn $1 million from 1 million commuters. I doubt there's 1 million commuters right now, right? I doubt it. It will take 76 years to cover costs. Who approved such project? Tell me. Who has approved? Who is the one who approved such a project? And our parliamentary system has to change. Another reform I want to effect is all big projects, whether it's MRT, whether it's a multi-billion dollars airport, or the port, the Tuas mega port and all that, or reclaim land, has to go to a special committee to scrutinize the spending, right? By both the ruling and opposition MPs, plus committee hearing from the expert and all other stakeholders. For example, you want to build something that will affect the natural environment, then there must be one hearing to that. PAP also always says, "Oh, don't need lah. All this process will make us less efficient. No, things will work very slowly." But look, speed. We should not go for speed to compromise the quality, right? As well as the amount of money that we are throwing in. And after spending so much money on all these little projects here, or not little, big projects here and there, then the PAP government turn around and tell us they do not have enough money. They want to increase GST. In spite of the fact that they claim that we have huge reserve, very proud of their huge reserve that have been accumulated, like Temasek say, "Oh, we have a rebound of the assets value, right, to nearly $400 billion, but yet they want to increase GST. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. I think all this excessive spending, right, which wastes a lot of money due to bad planning, bad design, should stop. Or else there will be more taxes imposed on us. All right? Okay, that's all for tonight. Something for you to think about, and please support the People's Power Party. We will be the force to be reckoned with if we are in Parliament, because we care for Singapore and how Singapore is run by the government.